Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. I'm just getting myself set up. Just give me a second while I just check the sound is working, the live stream is coming through clearly, and the video is working. Once that's all working, then we're all ready to go, and we'll get cracking into it. Okay, sound is coming through. Okay, all right, so I'll pop that out. I'll do my normal introduction, which is basically, look, if you're rewatching this live stream, you will find the start time down in the description. And if you haven't been part of my live streams before, normally what I do is I present everything first, and then I open it up for those of you who are part of the live stream to ask questions, give feedback, or just say hi to me at the end of the actual live stream. Of course, that's completely up to you. Anyway, let's get cracking into it, and we'll go from there. Hi, welcome to... sorry. Hi, welcome to HowtoDandD. My name is Fred Wheeler, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and this is another mini combat tutorial, and I'm going to be covering today, I'm going to cover the wizard at level 1. For those of you who are not familiar with some of the videos that I've done, I have a whole spell series. There's like truckloads of spells I've done videos on. If you want to go and check them out, you can go and check them out. Certainly they are spells that you might use as a wizard. Also too, you're going to find everything you need in terms of character sheets, and all the resources that I use in this video are going to be down in the description, so have a look down there if you want to check out the character sheet that I use, anything like that. Okay, so let's talk about wizards. Now, wizards are one of those classes that essentially have a huge array of spells and can amass quite a large number of spells to use as they see fit for combat or for utility purposes, which is one of the reasons why I really like playing a wizard. They're also quite complicated, so you have to sort of do your homework if you have any chance of being successful with your wizard. Okay. So you can check out the details in the player's handbook on the wizard, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the character sheet, give you a quick breakdown of this character sheet, which you can download from the Dungeons and Dragons official website, and then we'll go from there. And I'll give you an opening scene, and we'll show you with dice and miniatures and a map how to go through a combat section or session. Okay, or at least part of one anyway. So this particular character sheet is for an elf wizard. Usually if you're playing something like a high elf, you get a few more benefits compared to every other class. That equates to access to a cantrip or sometimes something else. But essentially you get access, and your magic is going to be probably a little bit stronger just because of that, because you have that benefit and intelligence that you gain as a spellcasting feature for the class, but you also get that boost because you're an elf. So there's a couple of things to remember with this particular character. It has dark vision, it has trance, none of which are going to be very useful in the middle of combat. It has Fey ancestry, so you get advantage on saving throws against being charmed or magic that might put you asleep. It has pretty standard sort of spell casting DC of 13. Its attack spell casting modifier is a +5. You get access to 2 first level spells at level 1. You get access to arcane recovery. So once per day when you finish a short rest, you can choose to basically recover some of your expended slots. And this is determined by the combined level of your classes. Okay, and for level 1 you're only going to get 1 slot back. It's not going to come into play with this situation. The spells you have access to on this character sheet are your cantrips, which you can cast as many times as you like. You have an infinite supply of cantrips. You can cast Acid Splash, not a particularly good spell, I have to say, Firebolt, Ray of Frost, and Shocking Grasp. Our first level spells are Burning Hands, Detect Magic, so we can detect things that are magical, Mage Armor, which you should be casting at the very beginning of the day. This should be the very first spell that you actually cast, and I know that means, okay, Now I only have one level 1 spell that I can cast when I get into combat, but Mage Armor is going to give you so much more in terms of defensive ability. And there's always the chance that somebody might shoot at your very, very soft and squishy wizard. So I suggest you make sure you put it on. It lasts 8 hours. There's Magic Missile, there's Shield, and Thunder Wave. We're not going to get access or a chance to use all of these spells today because it just would take far too long, particularly since I'm doing a mock combat. Right, so we're going to open it up. Today I thought it would be nice to use like a castle scene, make things nice and simple for everybody, just so that you can see that, oh gosh, did I make sure no, I've got to transfer that pay. There we go, it's transferred over. You should have it now in front of you. Okay, so first off, we're going to run through our scenario. The wizard has decided to go exploring and has ventured away from the party, which you should never do, but for this case, it just makes life a lot easier for me if I don't have too many things going on. And he's exploring, or should I say, this elf, she is exploring a ruined castle, has come across the moat and is looking around and basically checking the place out. While that's happening, she's unaware that this castle is actually occupied by a whole bunch of orcs. And the orc band are making their way back. Now, in comes the first one. This is our scout who's come into the castle location. This is like the courtyard here. I have covered up sections of it so I can use my whiteboard. And it says very, very distinctly in Orcish, you came to the wrong place. And we're going to just go straight into it. I'm not going to get too carried away with making it thematic or anything like that. Now, the types of languages that this particular character knows are Common, Elvish, and Draconic. So the wizard would have no idea what the orc is saying. All the orc does is have a very large axe, pulls it out, and comes rushing at the wizard. So we're going to roll initiative. So starting off, we're going to start off with, I believe we'll start with the wizard today. So grab a 20-sided dice. Our modifier is going to be our dexterity modifier for our initiative. So roll your 20-sided dice. I got a 13. Add your dexterity modifier, which is your initiative modifier, and that is a +3. So 13 plus 3 is 16. So I'm going to put wizard. And there we go, one wizard gets 16. And we'll put a box here to represent how many hit points our wizard has. Whoops, it's a very interesting box, it's a little bit skewed. Let's just rub that out and try again, Fred. There we go. All right, now the number of hit points we have are very, very low, so it's just 7. It's not a lot. So once we've made our initiative roll with our wizard, I'm going to make our initiative roll with the orc. So grab your 20-sided dice, roll your dice. I rolled a 7. The dexterity modifier for our orc is a +1, so that's only going to be an 8. It's very low. So orc, 7 plus 1 is 8. There we go. And number of hit points that our orc has is right here. And they have a grand total of 15. If you thought I was presenting the wizard with a fair fight, absolutely not. I don't do that sort of thing. All I'm trying to do is demonstrate something. Okay, so there we are. There's our initiative. So I'm going to use the magnets on the side here to represent where we are in the initiative. Now, whatever initiative you get, the higher the number, you start. The lower the number, you're lower in the initiative, and you're going to be going probably last or after whoever's the higher initiative. Okay, very, very simple, not very difficult to understand. Okay, so starting with our wizard. Our wizard's opening gambit. Now you can cast any kind of spell you like. I'm going to look at my spells, and look, cantrips are great. They don't do an awful lot of damage. Probably the most damage dealing spell that I have right now that's a cantrip is Firebolt, because it does 1 10-sided dice worth of damage, provided I hit my target, that is, and I might not hit my target. I'm not going to make this surprise because it's not necessary. I don't feel like the orc was actually sort of sneaking up on our wizard. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Firebolt. Shocking Grasp is when I'm up range. Ray of Frost would slow him down, but I'm pinned in a location that doesn't really allow me to go very far. So I'm probably not going to be able to get away anyway. So I'm going to forget about trying to slow them down. Ray of Frost allows you to slow an enemy down by 10 feet. But we're dealing with an Orc, and they can just run like a bat out of hell at anything. And they can get to you no matter what, so it's not a good idea to use that. We've already got our Mage Armor cast at the beginning of our day. And that lasts for 8 hours. And then I've got a couple of other options. Now, I could go with Magic Missile, but the chances are I won't be able to kill the Orc straight away. And I want that one last level 1 spell to use Shield if I absolutely have to, because this thing could probably take down the Wizard very, very easily. So, let's go with the Firebolt. Roll a 20-sided dice because it's a ranged spell attack. And I got a 15. Add my spell attack modifier, which is a 5, so 15 plus 5, grand total of 20, and the armor class on the Orc is only a 13. That means I'm going to hit the Orc. Thank God for that. Thank God for that. So the target is hit. You have to get equal to or greater than. Roll for your damage. So a 10-sided dice. I know what a lot of people are thinking. Do I add my spell casting modifier to this dice roll? No, you don't. Unfortunately not. And trying to grapple an Orc, they're a bit on the strong side. A Wizard doesn't really have much of a chance. Okay, I rolled an 8, which isn't too bad. So I do 8 points of fire damage against the Orc. That's good news. It's not solved my problem, but it has reduced the problem a little bit. So 15 minus 8, and that'll give us, I believe, 7. So I'll rub out the 15. And we're now even Stevens at present. Kind of fortunate, but it's not over yet. Okay, now that we've done the Wizard, now the Wizard can now make a choice to move further away, and I'm going to do that. So, not that it's going to make much difference. I'm going to go for the little split in the wall, because there's a chance I might be able to sneak out the side. There are sort of arrow slits along here. You'll see that there are arrow slits along here. There's actually stairs here, but if I shuffle that around, actually let's do that. We'll shuffle that around. Just watch the board as I slide it across. Hopefully I managed to do so without getting anything out of the screen. We slide it across. Push, 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 push. And our dice are just about to disappear off the table as well. And we'll move it over there. So we've got some stairs we can use. That's made things a little bit easier, and you can still see what's going on. Okay, so we'll go this way. So 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, so the Wizard has moved as far as he possibly can away, or she has moved as far away as possible in that one turn. Done. Let's go to our Orc. It's our Orc's turn. The problem with Orcs is they have this thing called aggressive. And as a bonus action, they can move up to their speed toward a hostile creature. Now, it doesn't matter what the Wizard had done. Whether if the Orc believes that it's a hostile creature, it's going to attack. So I'm going to have it use a bonus action to move. So we go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. That's the bonus action. I still get to move. 5, 10, 15, 20. So you can see the problem with trying to run away. Run away doesn't really work that well. And even if I'd cast Ray of Frost, still would have been able to get into contact. This is when the Orc now gets to make a rather nasty attack. There's the choice of using the Javelin, which doesn't do very much damage. Great Axe will do a lot more, so I grab a 20-sided dice, I roll that, make my attack. Here we go. I rolled a 1. Yes, believe it or not, I rolled a 1. Now, a 1 doesn't matter what the modifiers are, it's definitely going to miss. So that's an automatic miss. It's funny how that worked out. I did not plan this, guys. Honestly, I did not plan this. Okay, so that's our Orc. Taken bonus action, moved, and an action, and it's now back to the Wizard. Now, the Wizard has limited options. Going this way is likely to sort of pin the Wizard into a bad situation. So what we can do is we can move around the Orc and then use another spell. I haven't had to worry about using shields yet, so we're going to go 5, 10, 15. Now I'm going to only use half of my movement because I can literally split my movement up and cast a spell. And I have a spell called Shocking Grasp, which is an action to cast. It's a cantrip. I can do it as many times as I like. I have to touch the target for it to be effective. Now, unfortunately, the orc is not wearing metal armor, only hide armor, so I don't get advantage on the attack. Normally, if you use the cantrip Shocking Grasp, you must make a melee spell attack, and you get advantage on the enemy if they are wearing metal armor, and this particular enemy is not. So I'm still going to use it because there's a chance I can move away from our orc and hopefully go back to find the rest of the party and do a bit of damage as well, which is why I'm selecting that. And it's one of those spells that I don't have to worry about having disadvantage on the attack roll should that take place. Okay, so I've moved. I'm going to make my Shocking Grasp melee spell attack, and I only got a 3 plus 5. 3 plus 5 is 8, so it's not going to hit the armor class of a 13 for our orc. Okay, never mind. It could have been worse. I'm going to go down to the orc. It's now the orc's turn. I rolled the wrong dice for the wizard. Never mind, it's too late now. The orc is going to turn around since our wizard is trying to escape and make another attack with the great axe. So we'll swing again. I don't think this wizard's going to be that lucky, but we'll see how we go. So I rolled, as it happens, another 1. A 1 is a critical fail, so no strike, no hit. This wizard's going to live. I think this wizard might live. Now, the orc can maneuver itself if it wanted to, if it had space to maneuver through. But really, this space is a bit too small to move through, so we're going to stay here. But the orc is yelling out something. And I'm not going to say what it is because, as it happens, our wizard doesn't know, and you guys probably don't speak orcish anyway, so it doesn't matter. Okay. So our orc failed to hit, moved a little bit, isn't going to need to use a bonus action because it's not going to be necessary. It's only got the ability to move closer and faster. So we're back to the wizard. Let's have our wizard make another attack. This time we're going to we could repeat our Shocking Grasp, or we could go for another spell and try to knock this thing out and take him out really, really quickly. Now there's a spell. Now I was going to use shield, but there's only 7 hit points left on this orc, and I have 1 spell slot left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast a spell called Magic Missile. It's an action to cast. It has a range of 120 feet, and I'm well within range. Now the reason I'm selecting this spell is there's a very, very good chance I might actually take the orc down, because I get to hurl 3 darts with no attack roll. They're going to automatically hit the target. And I get to have a 4-sided dice plus 1 for every dart. So the probabilities are that I'm probably going to get at least a 2 on every dice. So that's 2 plus 3. So I'm probably looking at about 6 points of damage off the dice, and another 3 points plus the plus 1s that are attached to each dart. So that's a 9. 9 would be about average. Even if I do horribly well, the orc won't die, but will be very, very close to. So we're going to try and do that anyway. This is our time. Take a stand. This wizard's not going to get that lucky for much longer. So we're going to use Magic Missile. Now there are a lot of discussions about how you should use Magic Missile, whether you roll 3 4-sided dice, whether you roll 1 4-sided dice and simply use those numbers to represent each of them. But for the sake of this particular demonstration, I'm not going to get into that because I honestly don't think it matters. And I've always let my players roll a dice for every missile or dart that is being fired. And I'm firing 3 at level 1. So we'll roll all of these and see what we get. It's a Hail Mary move. Okay, so I rolled a 2 on this dice. I rolled a 4. This dice, you read it off the bottom rather than the top. And this one I got a 3. So if I add up the dice, now the great thing about Magic Missile is you can use it at range or when they're right up in your face and there's no disadvantage. It's actually a really good spell when things are not going well for you. So 2 plus 4 is 6, plus 3 is 9, and because there are 3 darts, I get to add another +1 for each dart, so that's a 9 plus an additional 3. So that's 12 points of damage. That means our orc goes down. Would you believe it? Who would have guessed that a level 1 wizard could take out one orc all by their lonesome? I have proved it can be done. There it is. The proof is there. It happened before your eyes. There is no way of me fudging this because you saw the dice rolls live on camera. Okay, so orc goes down. And we're going to have, now you have the choice when you're up close to choose to either kill the target or knock it out. This wizard is just going to go with the kill, okay? Just because I think it's probably going to make a lot more sense. You don't really want the orc getting back up and causing trouble later on. Now this is when our wizard would then go trekking off to do other things like using detect magic. But unfortunately for this wizard, the rest of the party shows up, and suddenly what looked like a good situation, we have like the whole war band shows up through the gate to basically stop our wizard from escaping, who's just taken out one of their mates. And I imagine that bad things will happen from here. So you can see when you're casting spells and using your wizard in combat, you're going to need to look at the probabilities, the chances, the risk. I stayed off using the shield spell, or that one last spell at level 1, because I wanted to use shield just in case. And I did that, and I don't know how this orc managed to roll so badly, but it did. But it was fine. But we used our magic missile, and actually that's quite a good example of how effective that can be. Now, if I were to add the orcs into this situation, which I could, we would say start with the wizard and go from here. And I think we could, but I feel like, you know, now the odds of the wizard actually being effective and surviving are pretty much remote. No more level 1 spells left, no chance to rest, and only cantrips. So really, the best thing that the wizard can do is surrender or try and run away. And as long as you've got a place you can run away to, then go for it. So that's exactly what we'll do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. That's a move, and I'll have to use action as well. Open the door, go through the door. 10, 11, 12. And our wizard may get out one of the broken walls or might not, but essentially that's how combat works for a wizard. Now there are a lot of other spells. A lot of these spells I've already done videos on, so you're welcome to go and check them out. Okay, so basics there: rolling initiative, making attacks, taking turns, and using a couple of different spells. Not a lot, but a couple of them. So I don't know if you found this useful or entertaining or entertaining. I don't know. I think it was pretty entertaining. I was amazed that the wizard actually survived that encounter. If you found it educational, great. Like and share the video. If you like this sort of thing, I usually do a combat workshop or tutorial about once a week on a particular class or a particular detail in the game, and sort of demonstrate things. So by all means, consider subscribing and hitting the bell button if you want to see more content like this. I have hundreds of videos, and you are welcome to go and watch some of those. I have a whole bunch of combat tutorials that you can go and check out if you want to. Now, if you want to support my channel, watching more of my videos and watching this video certainly supported me, and I have to say thank you very much. I don't do Patreon, but down in the description you will find affiliate links to the book depository and Amazon, where you can buy stuff online. I get a small commission. You pay exactly the same price. Go through the link, buy what you want. You don't have to buy the thing I've linked to. Just go through the link. Now, this is your opportunity to ask questions, give feedback, say hi to me. I will say hi to you. You can do that in the live chat or in the comment section. And hey, till next time, keep rolling those 20s. I'm not gone. For those of you who were thinking that I might have disappeared. Hi Chris, how's it going? Darren, hi, how's it going too? Now, so if the Orc grapples, that would reduce the speed. Now we can do that right now if you like. We'll eliminate the rest of these guys, and I will just rub out this, and we'll do a demonstration of how to use the grapple, since Chris is asking that question and hopefully is still in the room and hasn't decided to disappear on me. So we will demonstrate a grapple just so you can see how it works. Now a grapple is what's called, it's a special type of skill check. It's a contest, and if you're going to try to use a grapple to grab somebody, you must first do the following thing. Okay, what you will need to do is make an athletics check or a strength check. Now if you don't have an athletics score, then it doesn't matter, you just use the modifier for your strength. Now the strength for the Orc is a mighty +3. So whatever I roll on a 20-sided dice, +3 is my check, my strength check or athletics check. So I'll do that now. So I rolled an 8 +3 comes to a grand, where's my pen? Grand total of 11. Now the wizard can contest that and try to avoid being grappled so its speed isn't reduced to 0. That would be a bad thing, makes it very, very hard to get away. The best option for me is not to use something like athletics or even acrobatics. It is to use the dexterity modifier, because this wizard's not trained in any of those skills. My strength is 0 as in terms of modifier. My dexterity is a +3. I'm going to use the dexterity. Okay, so whatever I roll on a 20-sided dice, +3. So I rolled a 12. Okay, so 12 +3 is 15. So for the Orc to be successful with the grapple, it must score greater than whatever the wizard gets with their acrobatics, athletics, or dexterity or strength check. If they don't do that, if they don't get greater than that value there, it's unsuccessful. Okay? If you get equal to, it's still not going to be successful, because it's a contest. It's not your normal difficulty class skill check. A difficulty class skill check is completely different. You must get greater than. It would just be a standoff, so nothing happens. There's no grapple applied. If you get less, it still fails. Okay, so that's how the grapple works. Hopefully that answered your question, Chris. Darren P, yes, dear wizard. Look, the wizard did pretty well, if you ask me, Chris. Would it stop the wizard from casting next round? No. If you use a grapple on any kind of creature, all you have done is applied 0 to their movement. They can't move until they release the grapple. So if I wanted to release from this Orc, I would have to use an action. It's an action to perform a grapple unless you have multiple attacks. If you have multiple attacks, you can do it. You can't use your bonus action to apply grapple though. It must be part of your main action or the attack action, because a grapple is a special type of attack. So you can still cast spells. So that's not going to be an issue. I know what you're going to ask me, and that is there any kind of penalty applied if you are grappled when you're casting spells? Now remember, when people think about grappling somebody, it's not like the Orc grabs the wizard with both hands and put them into a headlock or into some sort of judo move. It's not what's happened. What's happened is the Orc has grabbed the wizard with one hand. That's it. They can't move away from their current location till I break it. Now for the wizard to do that, you need to use a strength check. So it's very unlikely that the wizard could get free, because strength modifier is 0. And likely if I roll that dice now and try to release, 20, so I got 20-sided dice, so I got a 15, plus the 0 on my attack, my strength modifier. You can't use your dexterity to try to weasel out. I believe that's so. Yes, you must use strength. No, it's dexterity or. So we can apply 15, 15, 5, 20. And then it's contested by our Orc, who then makes their check. And I roll the 3, plus the 3 for their modifier for strength. And that comes to 6. So you can break free if you want. Certainly an option. But you can still cast spells. Did that answer your question, Chris, in terms of you can still make attacks if you're grappled? You can still attempt to do a lot of different things. What you just can't do is try to move away. If you try to move away, it's not going to work. What else was I going to say with regard to this? There was something else I needed. There we go. So the difference between being grappled and restrained is fairly significant. Okay, so when you are grappled, a grappled creature, their speed is 0 and can't benefit from any bonus to their speed. The condition ends if the grappler is incapacitated. Okay, the condition also ends if the affected individual removes the grappled creature, and this can happen either by breaking the grapple yourself or a spell effect breaking them free from it. Whereas if you were restrained, which you're not, you would have a few more things taking place. So things like attack rolls, you would have, the Orc would have advantage on attacks if it was restrained, which it's not, and the Wizard would have disadvantage on attack rolls. So you avoid doing those sorts of things. The creature has disadvantage on dexterity saving throws as well. But that doesn't apply because it's only grappled. Okay, Chris is having a good old laugh. The critical fails were entertaining, I have to say. They were extremely entertaining. All right, what do we got here? Critical fail, Orc knocks the Wizard prone. No, it didn't happen. Another critical fail. Are you guys, were you on the Wizard side or the Orc side? Lollaraptor, how's it going, Lollaraptor? Hi there. Yes, Germany. Yes, greetings from New Zealand to Germany. How you doing, mate? Darren, great video, Fred. I'll point my new Wizard player to it. Oh, good. I know I need to do more videos on the spells. I do realize this is pretty basic, but I thought I would at least give a go. Chris, what's this? Would the Orc grappling stop the caster from casting? No, it doesn't stop attacks or casting. You can still cast spells. You can still make attacks. Chris, so next round, if the Orc tries to knock prone, would that stop casting? No, if you're knocked prone, you can still cast a spell. You can still make an attack if you are prone. So just because you might have used the shove action, doesn't mean that you can't make attacks or cast spells. It just means you're prone. That's it. Which means if the Orc gets an opportunity to make an attack while the Wizard is down, they would get advantage. It's unlikely because the next turn rolls around and unless the Wizard's dead or unconscious, there's not going to be another attack. Okay, Chris is happy enough with the responses I've given. Good. There should be some melee attacks up close to cause concentration checks, or is that an older edition I'm thinking? Okay, so first off, every time, it doesn't matter whether it's a melee attack or close quarter combat attack or a ranged attack or a ranged spell attack, anything that does damage to a spell caster who is casting a spell that is using a spell that requires concentration. Not all spells require concentration, but if it does require concentration, they must make a concentration check. And my, that is like a whole new topic to try to go through. Concentration checks would take me quite a little bit of time to go through. So I don't really want to try to cover it today if I can. I will certainly consider doing it in the future, but yes, some spells require concentration, but Mage Armor is not concentration, it just works for 8 hours. Magic Missile, it's instantaneous. Once it's done, it's done. Darren, what's this? I get them mixed up too, Chris. Yes, Chris. Well, sometimes NPCs need to do realistic anti-caster tactics if they are smart enough. Fair enough. I agree, Chris. Okay, that's great. Cool. All right. I think this is a good point for me to trek off and say good night and go and do something else. And hey, thank you for showing up to the live stream. I do appreciate it, particularly for those of you who were willing to sort of, shout out and have a chat with me. Chris has made it clear that at some point I need to discuss making grapple checks, how the restrained condition works. I do have videos on, I believe it is Restrained and Grappled. It's one or the other. I know I've done at least one of those. And there is a video out there that you can check out. And I will obviously have to do concentration, and I'll walk you through the process at some time, just not today. My voice is about to go, so I need to go. So you guys have a good night, a good day, good afternoon, whatever it is. Look after yourself, look after the people around you, and I will see you next time.